complex world, and the Torah often captures that. There's an impulse that we want things like what we call religion to be sweet and nice and always preach peace. But of course, the world doesn't allow for that. And if Jewish thought is to deal with the world as it is, it needs to deal with that complexity. There are hints this week. We have two fascinating commands. One, of course, is to not hate the Egyptians. There's a commandment to the Israelites not to hate the Egyptians, despite the problematic history. Because when Israel was starving, the Egyptians took them in and fed them in the time of Joseph. And that has to override the later history of enslavement. And at the end of Parshat Teitze this week, we get the command to blot out the name of Amalek, to wipe out Amalek. And that is historically a call for violence against an entire people. And this is prominent especially around the time of Purim, but when we read it first in the Torah, it is this week. There are a few things here. One, I think that it's meant to complexify the world. There are people who are bad, who you have to fight against, and make no doubt, and there are people who you have to forgive, and you have to make peace with, despite your anger. And this is, of course, borne out by history. Does it mean the command to blot out Amalek, that we are commanded to commit genocide against those who hate us? And the answer is, of course, no. We know from the Talmud, there's a tradition, this is brought in Shai Held's great book, The Heart of Torah. It's from the Talmud. I had to check it myself. That the rabbis say that the descendants of Haman, who studied with the sages in Bnei Brak. Now, of course, Haman is a descendant of Amalek. This means that at some point in time there was a reconciliation and a meeting, even at a high level. The descendants of Haman studied with the sages in Bnei Brak. This is an amazing claim. This indicates that these principles are not absolute, and every generation has to deal with these things differently. But what we have to remember is there's a time for forgiveness and there's a time for war, and it's never a simple matter. The Torah teaches us that we have to look deeply into these things and decide what time it is now. Shabbat Shalom.